It's finally happening, October 18th, 2025. If you're reading these words right now on this exact date, then you need to understand something profound. This is not a coincidence. The fact that you found this message today, that your eyes are scanning these sentences at this precise moment in time, that something inside you urged you to click, to watch, to listen, all of it is orchestrated. All of it is divine timing. All of it is because the wait is finally over. For how long have you been waiting? How many years have you spent feeling like you're on the verge of something massive, but never quite reaching it? How many times have you sensed that breakthrough was just around the corner, only to find yourself still in the same place, still struggling, still pushing against invisible walls that refuse to budge? How many nights have you laid awake wondering, when will things finally shift for you? The chosen ones know this feeling intimately. It's been your constant companion. This sense of waiting for something you can't quite name, this knowing that you're meant for more, that there's a purpose burning inside you, that you came here to do something significant, that the doors haven't opened yet, the opportunities haven't arrived yet, the people haven't shown up yet, the resources haven't manifested yet, and you've been holding on, barely, wondering if you got it all wrong, if maybe you're not chosen after all, if maybe this is just your ego creating fantasies to cope with an ordinary existence. But today, October 18th, everything changes. Today is the day the universe has been building toward. Today is when the wait ends and the manifestation begins. Today is when 7 specific miracles that have been held in the cosmic queue with your name on them are finally released. And if you're seeing this message right now, it's because your soul knew you needed to hear this confirmation before these miracles arrive. Because here's what you need to understand. Miracles don't announce themselves with trumpets and fanfare. They don't show up with warning labels that say, "This is your miracle." They come disguised as opportunities, as chance encounters, as sudden insights, as doors that inexplicably open after years of being locked. And if you're not paying attention, if you're not aware that October 18th marks the end of your waiting period, you might miss them entirely. This message is your alert system. This is your notification that the frequency has shifted, that the timeline has accelerated, that what was previously impossible is now not only possible, but inevitable. The 7 miracles calling your name aren't just possibilities. They're actualities that are already in motion, already moving toward you through the quantum field, already lining up in your reality. Stay with me until the very end of this message, because what I reveal in the final section will be the key to recognizing these miracles when they arrive and ensuring you don't accidentally block them through doubt, fear, or old patterns. And if you can already feel something stirring in your chest as you read this, if there's a recognition happening in your soul, if tears are forming for reasons you can't quite explain, drop 7. Let that be your declaration to the universe that you're ready, that you're open, that you're claiming what's already yours. October 18th, the wait is over. The miracles are here, and you're about to discover exactly what that means. Let me take you deeper into what's actually happening in the invisible realms right now. Because most people don't understand how miracles. They think miracles are random acts of divine favoritism, that God or the universe just arbitrarily decides to bless some people while leaving others to struggle. But that's not how it works at all. Miracles are the natural result of specific energetic conditions being met. They're what happens when your frequency finally aligns with the frequency of what you've been asking for. For the chosen ones, there's been a particular challenge that most spiritual teachings don't address honestly. You've been operating at a higher frequency than the reality around you for a very long time. You've been vibrating at a level that's beyond what your current circumstances reflect. This creates what I call frequency lag, a gap between who you've become energetically and what your physical reality is showing you. And this lag can last for years, sometimes decades. This is why you felt so frustrated. This is why nothing seemed to work the way it works for other people. This is why you do all the right things, follow all the guidance, take all the action steps, and still hit walls that made no logical sense. It wasn't that you were doing anything wrong, it was that your reality was still catching up to your frequency. The physical world moves slower than the energetic world, and the bigger the transformation you're undergoing, the longer the lag time can be. But October 18th represents a convergence point. This is when the lag finally closes. This is when your external reality catches up to your internal frequency. This is when the physical world suddenly reorganizes itself to match who you've become. And when this happens, it looks and feels like miracles. Plural, multiple, simultaneous, because years' worth of blocked manifestations all come through at once. The 7 miracles calling your name aren't 7 different things. They're 7 categories of manifestation that have been waiting in queue, ready to download into your life the moment the frequency lag closed. And today, October 18th, that moment has arrived. Let me break down what these 7 miracle categories are, because you need to know what to look for. You need to understand what's about to shift, so you can recognize it and receive it when it shows up. The first miracle is the sudden ability to see that everything that happened to you, all the delays, all the disappointments, all the closed doors, all the things that didn't work out, all of it was perfectly timed. You're going to have moments over the next days and weeks where you suddenly understand why certain things had to happen when they did. Why you couldn't get that job you wanted 5 years ago. Why that relationship had to end when it did. Why you were forced to move to a place you didn't want to be. Why opportunities were withheld, even though you were ready for them. It's all going to make sense. And when it does, when you see the intricate perfection of how everything was orchestrated to bring you to exactly this moment, exactly this frequency, exactly this level of readiness, you're going to weep, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming recognition that you were never abandoned, never forgotten, never off track. You were always exactly where you needed to be. This miracle of divine timing recognition is crucial, because it removes the last remnants of resentment and bitterness that might be blocking your full receiving mode. When you can see that the universe wasn't withholding from you, but was actually protecting you and preparing you, your entire energetic field opens up in a way it couldn't before. The second miracle is the sudden opening of doors that were previously locked, bolted, and seemingly welded shut. I'm talking about opportunities in your career, in your finances, in your creative projects, in your purpose work areas where you've been hitting walls for so long you almost gave up trying. These doors are going to start opening, and they're going to open in ways that make no logical sense. You're going to get phone calls from people you haven't talked to in years offering you exactly what you need. You're going to stumble across information or resources that solve problems you've been wrestling with forever. You're going to find yourself in the right place, at the right time, with the right people in ways that can only be described as orchestrated. These aren't going to be things you had to push for, or force, or make happen through sheer willpower. They're going to feel like gifts, like the universe is finally saying yes after years of saying not yet. But here's what you need to understand. These doors are opening because you're finally ready for what's on the other side of them. The chosen ones often think they were ready years ago, and on some level, maybe you were, but there was preparation happening that you couldn't see. There were aspects of your character that needed fortifying. There were patterns that needed breaking. There were frequencies that needed stabilizing. And now, on October 18th, that preparation is complete. You're not the same person who was asking for these opportunities years ago. You've been forged, and now you can handle what's coming. The third miracle is the sudden appearance of people who are actually aligned with who you've become. For so long you've been surrounded by people who don't get you, who don't see you, who drain your energy, who require you to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. And you've been so lonely, not necessarily physically alone, but lonely in the way that only the chosen ones understand, surrounded by people but deeply unseen. This changes now. Starting on October 18th, you're going to begin meeting people who recognize you, who see your light, who celebrate your gifts instead of feeling threatened by them. who match your energy instead of requiring you to lower yours. These might be romantic partners, business collaborators, mentors, soul friends, or spiritual family. But whoever they are, you're going to feel it immediately. You're going to have this sense of, finally, someone who gets it. These relationships are going to feel easy in a way you're not used to. There won't be the usual drama, the usual power struggles, the usual need to prove yourself or convince anyone of your worth. These people already know, they see you clearly from the first moment, and that recognition is going to heal something in you that's been wounded for a very long time. The fourth miracle is a shift in your financial reality that's going to seem almost impossible. For most chosen ones, money has been one of the most frustrating and confusing areas. You've done the mindset work, you've released the blocks, you've visualized and affirmed and taken action, and still, money has been inconsistent, insufficient, always just slightly out of reach. You've had enough to survive, but never enough to truly thrive, never enough to stop worrying, never enough to feel genuinely free. October 18th marks a turning point in this struggle. The financial breakthrough that's coming isn't just about getting more money, though that will happen. It's about finally understanding how money flows to you specifically. You're going to discover your unique wealth frequency. You're going to see what you've been doing that blocks abundance and what you need to do instead. And more importantly, you're going to start receiving money from unexpected sources in unexpected ways for unexpected reasons. This might look like a sudden client signing up for your services, a long overdue payment finally coming through, an unexpected reward or reimbursement, an opportunity to make money doing something you love, an inheritance or settlement you didn't know was coming, a raise or promotion that seemed impossible yesterday. The specifics will be different for everyone, but the pattern is the same. Money that was blocked is suddenly flowing again. The fifth miracle is a restoration of your physical energy and health. The chosen ones have been through so much. The spiritual awakening process is brutal on the body. The downloads, the kundalini activations, the DNA upgrades, the constant energy shifts. All of this takes a massive physical toll. And on top of that, you've been carrying stress that most people don't have to carry. The stress of being different. The stress of being misunderstood, the stress of holding light in a world that often feels dark. Your body has been tired, deeply tired. No amount of sleep seems to fully restore you. You've had strange symptoms that doctors can't explain, pains that come and go, exhaustion that feels cellular, and you've wondered if this is just how life is going to be now, if feeling drained is the price of being awakened. But October 18th brings a shift in this pattern. You're going to start noticing your energy returning. Sleep is going to feel more restorative. Food is going to nourish you in new ways. Exercise is going to feel good again, instead of depleting. The chronic issues that have plagued you are going to start resolving, often mysteriously, often in ways that surprise even medical professionals. Your body is finally catching up to the transformation your spirit has been going through, and as it does, you're going to feel more alive than you have in years. The sixth miracle is the unleashing of your creative power in ways you've never experienced before. For the chosen ones, there's always been something you're meant to create, meant to birth into the world. Maybe it's art, music, writing, teaching, healing, building, inventing, something that's uniquely yours to offer. And you felt this calling so strongly. But when you've tried to create, it's been hard, blocked, frustrating. The flow wasn't theirs. The inspiration would come in bursts, but never sustained. And you'd wonder if maybe you were meant to do something else, something more practical, something that doesn't require this kind of creative energy. October 18th changes. You're going to feel the creative channels opening in a way they haven't before. Ideas are going to flow. Inspiration is going to be abundant. The blocks that prevented you from creating are going to dissolve. And more than that, you're going to have the energy and the focus to actually bring your creations into form, to finish projects, to share your work, to put yourself out there in ways that previously felt impossible. This creative unleashing isn't just about personal fulfillment, though it is that it's about your mission. The chosen ones are here to create new templates, new possibilities, new ways of being, and your creations, whatever form they take, are part of how you do. They're part of how you shift consciousness, how you help others awaken, how you contribute to the transformation of this planet. And now, finally, you're going to be able to do this work without the constant struggle and frustration that's characterized it until now. The seventh miracle, the most important one, is absolute clarity about your purpose and the activation of your ability to live it. For the chosen ones, purpose has been both a blessing and a curse. You've always known you're here for something important. You felt it since you were young, but knowing you have a purpose and knowing what that purpose actually is are two very different things. And even when you've had glimpses of what you're here to do, translating that into practical action has been confusing and frustrating. October 18th brings an end to this confusion. You're going to receive clear, unmistakable guidance about what you're meant to do, how you're meant to serve, what your specific role is in the larger transformation happening on this planet. And this clarity isn't going to come as some vague feeling or abstract concept. It's going to be specific, actionable, clear enough that you'll know exactly what steps to take next. And along with this clarity comes activation. Activation means you're not just given information, you're given the ability to act on it. The skills, the resources, the connections, the opportunities, the confidence, the energy, everything you need to actually do what you're being called to do will start flowing to you. You won't have to figure it all out alone. You won't have to force things into being. You'll be supported in ways that make the path forward feel natural, even inevitable. These 7 miracles aren't separate from each other. They're interconnected, each one supporting and amplifying the other. When divine timing recognition opens your heart, supernatural doors can open more easily. When divine relationships show up, financial breakthrough and creative flow become possible. When your health is restored, you have the energy to live your purpose. It's all one integrated shift, all happening because October 18th marks the end of the frequency lag, the end of the waiting period, the beginning of the manifestation phase. Now, I need to shift your perspective on something crucial, because understanding this will determine whether you actually receive these 7 miracles or whether you accidentally block them at the last moment. And yes, it's entirely possible to block a miracle, even when it's right in front of you. In fact, it's more common than you might think. The chosen ones are masters at self-sabotage, often without even realizing they're doing it. Here's what happens. You've been waiting for so long, struggling for so long, that you've developed defensive mechanisms to protect yourself from disappointment. You've learned not to get your hopes up. You've learned to expect things to fall through. You've learned to brace yourself for the other shoe to drop. These were necessary survival mechanisms when you were in the waiting period. They protected your heart from breaking every time things didn't work out. But now that the waiting is over, these same mechanisms can prevent you from receiving what's finally coming. Let me give you a specific example of how this plays out. Let's say one of your miracles is the supernatural door opening in your career, a job opportunity that's exactly what you've been asking for. It shows up on October 19th, just one day after you read this message. But because you've been disappointed so many times before, your first response isn't excitement, it's suspicion. This seems too good to be true. There must be a catch. Something's going to go wrong. And with that thought, with that frequency of doubt, you literally begin to push the opportunity away. Or maybe your miracle is a divine relationship showing up. Someone who sees you, who gets you, who's genuinely aligned with your frequency. They reach out, They express interest. They want to connect. But your immediate response is fear. This person seems too perfect. They're probably going to disappoint me, like everyone else. I should protect myself. I should keep my guard up. I should test them to make sure they're real. And in doing so, you create the very distance and dysfunction you're trying to avoid. This is why October 18th isn't just about the miracles arriving. It's about you being ready to receive, and receiving requires a level of openness, vulnerability, and trust that might feel terrifying after everything you've been through. It requires you to lower your defenses at the exact moment when powerful things are trying to come in. It requires you to believe again, hope again, trust again, even though you've been hurt by believing, hoping, and trusting before. The universe is asking something of you on October 18th. It's asking you to meet these miracles half, to recognize them when they arrive, even if they don't look exactly how you expected them to look. To say yes, even when your trauma is screaming at you to say no. To take the leap even when your fear is begging you to stay safe and small. Because here's the truth that's hard to hear. The miracles are coming whether you're ready or not. They've already been set in motion. The frequency shift has already happened, but whether you actually experience them, whether they actually land in your life and create the transformation they're meant to create, depends entirely on your willingness to receive. And receiving is an active process. It's not passive. It's not just sitting back and waiting for things to fall in your lap. Receiving is about staying open, staying present, staying aware. It's about noticing the signs, following the breadcrumbs, taking the actions that are being called for, even when they don't make logical sense. It's about trusting your intuition. When it tells you to reach out to someone, to apply for something, to say yes to an opportunity that scares you, to take a risk that your rational mind thinks is foolish. The chosen ones have spent so long learning to rely on themselves, to not need anyone, to be independent and self-sufficient, and those qualities served you in the waiting period. But they can become obstacles in the receiving period, because miracles by their nature come through connection, through collaboration, through interdependence, through allowing yourself to be supported by forces greater than yourself. So October 18th is asking you to soften, to open, to let the walls come down just enough to let the good stuff in. And I know that's scary. I know it feels vulnerable. I know every instinct in you might be screaming that vulnerability equals danger. But you're not the person you were when you built those walls. You're stronger now. You're wiser now. You can handle what's coming. And more importantly, you can handle being open to what's coming. Let me tell you what's going to happen in the days and weeks following October. If you choose to stay open, if you choose to receive, you're going to start noticing patterns, synchronicities, signs, the number sequences you've been seeing, 11, 22, 777. They're going to intensify. They're going to show up so frequently that you can't dismiss them as coincidence. These are confirmations. These are the universe's way of saying, yes, you're on the right track. Yes, this is real. Yes, keep going. You're going to have conversations with people that feel ordained, where they say exactly what you needed to hear, where they offer exactly what you've been needing, where the timing is so perfect it gives you chills. Don't dismiss these as luck. Don't minimize their significance. These are your miracles in action. You're going to feel pulled towards certain actions, certain decisions, certain directions, and your logical mind might not understand why. You might not be able to explain or justify these pulls to anyone else, but your body will know. Your intuition will know. And on October 18th and beyond, you need to trust that knowing more than you trust your fear, more than you trust your doubt, more than you trust the voices of people who don't understand your path. The 7 miracles calling your name are going to require you to be brave in new ways. Not the courage of endurance that got you through the waiting period, but the courage of expansion, the courage to take up space, the courage to be seen, the courage to claim what's yours, the courage to believe you're worthy of miracles, even though you've been taught your whole life that you're not special enough, not good enough, not chosen enough to receive such blessing. But you are. You are chosen. That's not ego. That's not arrogance. That's not spiritual superiority. That's simply truth. You've been chosen for a specific mission, and these 7 miracles are the tools, the resources, the support system you need to accomplish that mission. They're not rewards for being good. They're not prizes for suffering enough. They're functional necessities that you need to do what you came here to do. And the timing of October 18th isn't random. It's aligned with larger cosmic patterns, with planetary movements, with collective consciousness shifts that create optimal conditions for manifestation. The veil between the physical and spiritual realms is particularly thin right now. The quantum field is particularly responsive right now. Your own frequency is particularly elevated right now. All of these factors create what's essentially a manifestation superhighway, where things that normally take years to manifest can happen in days or weeks. But this window doesn't stay open forever. The optimal conditions that exist on October 18th will gradually shift as we move through the rest of October and into November. This doesn't mean miracles can't happen after this date. It means the ease with which they flow is greatest right now. The resistance is lowest right now. The path is clearest right now. So if you're seeing this message on October 18th, you're being asked to act now, to choose now, to receive now. Don't fall into the trap of thinking, I'll deal with this later. I'll get to it when things calm down. I'll open myself up when I feel more ready. Because that's your fear talking. That's your resistance finding sophisticated ways to keep you safe and small. The truth is, you're never going to feel completely ready. Miracles are, by definition, bigger than your current capacity. They stretch you. They challenge you. They require you to grow into them. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. So, here we are at the culmination of everything, and I need you to really hear what I'm about to share, because this is the piece that ties everything together. This is the understanding that will allow you to not just receive these 7 miracles, but to sustain them, to build on them, to use them as the foundation for a completely different way of living. October 18th isn't just about receiving miracles. It's about becoming the kind of person who can hold the frequency of miracles as your new normal. Because if you receive these blessings but remain operating from the same consciousness that existed during your waiting period, you'll sabotage them. You'll find ways to lose what you've gained. You'll unconsciously recreate struggle because struggle is familiar and miracles are not. The wait is over, but what replaces the waiting? This is the question most people never ask. They spend so much time focused on getting out of their current circumstances that they never prepare for what comes after. And when the breakthrough finally arrives, they don't know how to be in it. They don't know how to function without struggle as their organizing engine. So, let me tell you what needs to happen now. You need to grieve the waiting period. I know that sounds strange. Why would you grieve something you desperately wanted to end? But the chosen ones often spend years, sometimes decades, in waiting. And during that time, you built an identity around being the one who's on the verge, but never quite there. The one who's full of potential, but never manifested. The one who's meant for more, but stuck in less. That identity has to die now. And death, even of something painful, requires grief. You need to acknowledge what you went through. The loneliness, the frustration, the moments you almost gave up, the times you questioned everything, the pain of watching others receive what you were still waiting for. All of it needs to be witnessed, honored, and released. Because if you don't grieve the waiting period, you'll carry its energy into your miracles. You'll receive the divine relationship, but operate from the loneliness of being unseen. You'll receive the financial breakthrough, but operate from the scarcity of never having enough. You'll receive the purpose clarity, but operate from the confusion of not knowing your worth. The external circumstances will change, but your internal reality will remain the same. And that dissonance will eventually cause the external changes to collapse back into the old patterns. So take time, starting October 18th, to really feel everything you've been through. Not to wallow in it, not to create a story about how hard you've had it, but to honor it, to thank it even, because the waiting period, as painful as it was, forged you. It revealed what you're made of. It showed you that you can endure. It proved that you don't give up even when every logical reason to quit presents itself. And now, with that strength, with that resilience, with that proven capacity to hold on through the darkness, you're ready for the light. You're ready for the miracle, not because you've earned them through suffering. That's not how the universe works. But because you've been transformed through the process, to the point where you can receive them without being destroyed by them. Because powerful blessings can destroy people who aren't ready for them. Lottery winners who lose everything. People who get famous before they have the emotional maturity to handle it. Individuals who manifest their dreams only to sabotage them because they don't believe they deserve good things. This is why the universe makes chosen ones wait, not as punishment but as preparation. And now the preparation is complete. Now you're ready. October 18th is the universe's declaration that you've passed the tests, done the work, paid the dues, learned the lesson. Now you get to experience what it's like to live in flow instead of in struggle, to receive instead of to chase, to allow instead of to force. But you have to make a conscious choice to step into this new way of being. You have to decide that you're done with the old story, done with identifying as the struggling seeker, done with wearing your challenges like badges of honor, done with the subtle addiction to difficulty that many spiritual people develop without realizing it. The 7 miracles calling your name are invitations to a new identity, to being someone who miracles happen to regularly, to being someone who expects good things, to being someone who trusts that the universe is on their side, to being someone who knows beyond doubt that they're loved, supported, and guided by forces far greater than their limited human understanding. This new identity is going to feel strange at first, uncomfortable. You're going to have moments where you catch yourself waiting for things to go wrong, where you brace yourself for the other shoe to drop, where you can't quite believe that good things can be sustained. This is normal. This is your nervous system adjusting to a new baseline. Be patient with yourself through this adjustment. But don't let the discomfort convince you to go back to the familiar struggle. Starting October 18th, stop chasing your miracles and start noticing them. Each day, ask yourself, what showed up? What opened? What aligned? Write it down, claim it, and let your awareness expand, because what you focus on grows. You're stepping out of struggle and into alignment. Now, not everyone around you will understand this shift. Some will be triggered by your light. Others will try to pull you back down. Let them. You weren't meant to stay small just to make others comfortable. The 7 miracles calling your name today are only the beginning, the spark of a new frequency, the doorway into miracle consciousness. This is the day the wait ended, the day you said yes to everything you've been asking for. Say it now. I am ready. I am open. I am receiving. The wait is over. The miracles are